welcome to the Action Drug Hour here on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM, KHTS, your local hometown station, our local hometown station. My name is Cary Quashen. I am your host, along with my co-host today, which is going to be Lance Curtis, which is the Clinical Director for Action Drug Rehab. It's good to have you here with me, Lance.
It's definitely glad to be here and anxious to disseminate some good information for the citizens of Santa Clarita.
Very cool. And further, we got a lot of other listeners that join us through internet that live in other areas and either other states.
Oh.
So that's actually pretty cool. So Lance, let's just spend a few minutes talking about the press conference. What do you think?
Wow, that was it's just unbelievable the turnout. You know, we had Congressman Mike Garcia, we had Sheriff Alex Villanueva, and numerous other Sheriff's Department representatives.
Lorraine West,
the mayor of Santa Clarita. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
She's terrific. And then we had Joe Messina from the
school board.
The president of the school board.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah. That was one of the best press conferences I've ever attended.
You know, we were thinking about having this press conference for quite a long time, and some of the reason is I could speak for myself. I've been treating people in rehab stuff or drug abuse for 40 years. And Lance has been by my side for almost 25 years.
Yeah, at least since 2003.
Wow, long time, huh?
Yeah, you remember what you told me many, many years ago?
Remember
what you told me? You told me you're going to be working with me for a long time.
That's right, I did say that.
You're a prophet.
We had a program, listen to this one, we had a program manager position open, and Lance says to me, he says, give a brother a chance. I said, a chance for what? He says, I want to be the program director. I said, you're hired. Right?
That's true.
That's how it works. And we've been together
for
over 20 years now.
A long time.
Isn't that cool?
But I look younger than you do.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm older.
I know. You got a face for radio.
That's true.
Even though this is being filmed. So I'm just messing with. But I also, a special thanks to KHTS.
Yeah.
Because without them, we could not have put that press conference on. And like I said, I've been working in this field for 40 years, and you probably just as long, because I know before you worked for me, you were a parole officer, and you were down and dirty in the streets.
Yep.
You know, so, but I've never seen anything like what I'm seeing now when it comes to this fentanyl thing. I mean, I've been screaming for the last 15 years, as you know, about the heroin and the opioid epidemic, and we're going to lose more people than we've ever lost before, and we did. Opioids killed a lot of people. And then what happened is COVID came into picture.
Yes.
And people stopped talking about substance abuse and opioid stuff. I was on the news a few times when Channel 7 would follow me and Channel 4 and that kind of stuff. But that was like once a month. So anytime you put on the news, COVID dominated it. So you didn't really hear much about what was going on. But people who were using opioids didn't stop. People that were drinking didn't stop drinking when COVID came. People that have anxiety didn't get less anxiety. They have more anxiety, which means they needed to use more anxiety stuff. So it just got crazy. People with mental health, I mean, think about it. Telling somebody with mental health or substance abuse that you can't go out, that you can't hang out with anyone. I mean, what's going to go happen with anxiety? It went crazy. Domestic violence, everything was in steroids. But we stopped talking about it. And then at the same freaking time that we decided, wow, we're giving too many opiate prescriptions. And we're creating addicts. And big farm companies got sued. Doctors stopped writing prescriptions. Bang, just like that. So all these people that were dependent on opiates, guess what? The supply was gone in a heartbeat. The demand was higher than it ever has been in history. So you got something that the demand is so freaking high and the supply is gone. Where did dealers get their pills? They went to doctors. Now there were no doctors writing prescriptions. In fact, still today, we take people, I own rehabs. We take people sometimes to the hospital or doctors because they're hurt, they're in pain, they're sick, and they get 6 pills. The other day we took a lady a couple weeks ago, and she had extreme pain, and they gave her 3 Percocet. That's not even going to help her get through the day. So where is everybody going that was dependent on these opiates? The internet.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is fentanyl came into this country. And it came in swarms, and it started killing people, and it was everywhere. And I mean, for the past 3 years, I was actually dealing with people that were using heroin. It wasn't heroin anymore, it was fentanyl, and people were dying like freaking crazy. Country did a good job of keeping fentanyl coming out of our country, but it went straight to Mexico. And right now, again, I want everyone to understand there are no more pills out there. So when somebody buys a pill on the internet or on the streets, what are they buying, Lance?
They're buying fentanyl. You know, it's interesting, Cary. I got a call from a mother of one of my clients in the past, and she was interested in getting him on Suboxone. And she told me, well, if I can't get him on Suboxone, she said, I'm going to just go out in the streets in the black market. I said, whatever you do, do not buy anything off the black market. You'll kill your son.
And you know what it is? Russian roulette. I was actually sharing that at the press conference, and I was saying it's Russian roulette with 2 bullets. And my wife Jess was sitting in the audience next to one of the deputies, which was a narcotics division, and he said, "No, it's Russian roulette with 5 bullets." I mean, that's how bad it is right now. The DEA says 100% of the pills on the market today are fentanyl. 100%. They're not even saying 90 anymore. And I buy that. I used to say, well, maybe 90, but no, it's higher than 90. And what's going on right now, these are not brain surgeons. They're not chemists. They're not pharmacists. Who are they that's making these pills? Think about that. Anybody can go online right now and buy a bootleg machine and press anything to look like whatever they want. So it's one of those really frightening kind of things, man. And if we don't get this message out, Lance, we're going to bury even more people. You know what? What's the number one killer right now?
Number one killer is fentanyl.
So they say the number one killer from people 18 to 45 is accidental overdoses. And I say that's crap. The number one killer from children 16 to 45 is accidental overdoses. And the amount of parents that find their children, or husbands or wives that find their spouses when they wake up in the morning dead in their bedroom is disgusting. And that's where most people die, is in their own bedrooms. They go out, they buy something on Snapchat or wherever it is, Instagram, or on the net or on the streets. They come home, they take it thinking they're taking something and they're getting something else, and they don't wake up. It's so sad right now. I know so many people. My friend Jaime was there and he spoke.
Yes.
Crystal's been on this show with us, and a whole bunch of other people. We have to be as loud as we can right now.
And we've got to get more people into treatment. We've got to get more people on medically assisted treatment medications, because even if we secure the southern border, they're still going to get it through.
Of course.
It's coming from China to Mexico through our southern border.
Right. They'll always find ways to
get it in.
And it's not that hard to smuggle, because it's not huge bricks and stuff like that. It's
That's
small
true.
and easy to get here. So it's really kind of crazy. If anybody wants to join in this conversation, I know that we're not set up for that, but I'll give the phone number on the next break. But in the meantime, we brought Alex, which I know for quite a long time, and Jack, which is just doing a return visit.
Yes.
To Action Drug Rehab. And Alex, tell your story. What are you doing here? How did we meet?
I met you a little over 10 years ago.
Been that long?
Yeah.
I'm getting old, huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah? Oh, that
Before
was a
I
test.
had my
You
daughter,
failed.
I was
Go
trying to
ahead.
get sober before I had my daughter, during my pregnancy, after my pregnancy.
I was a pretty terrible experience for you. I remember being there with you.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital when they came.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
talk
that was a
about
really
that.
hard time. I couldn't stop using when I was pregnant. So I had my daughter on heroin. She was in NICU for at least a month.
So we had to keep you on medication because if we detoxed you, the baby would go through withdrawals too. And
Yeah.
you were too far along for us to do that.
Yeah.
So go on.
Yeah, so I've just been trying to get sober ever since. I had 3 years at one point, and then in January it went through something and I ended up relapsing, and so I've been using ever since, and
What have you been using?
heroin and crystal meth.
And I've been chasing you for almost like a month before you came in. And the reason I was chasing you, we haven't spoken in a long time, but
Yeah.
I mean, I got a call from Gina, which is a friend of yours, and she would call me almost daily. Your mom called me. I had people that I never met before, just off the streets, that knew who I was, calling me, say, help this girl. She's going to die. How come? Why were so many people so scared for your life?
Because I was using and
What does that look
staying
like? What does that look like? I was using.
kicked out of my house, staying at a hotel, or staying wherever I can find a place, out of my car, basically wherever I can.
And what were you using?
Heroin and crystal. I was shooting them both at the same time.
So you were shooting heroin and crystal.
Yeah.
And you know that almost all heroin is cut with fentanyl right now.
Yeah.
How'd you survive?
I don't know. By the grace of God.
Yeah. You said you woke up once and you were like nodded out.
Yeah, I was hunched over in the bathroom, and I thought maybe somebody saw me, so I just tried to hurry up and get out of there.
So you don't even know how long or how you got there.
No, I woke up and I still had, something in my arm.
You were, the needle was still in your arm.
Yeah.
So that's, wow, you got really lucky, girl.
Yeah.
That's how they find a lot of people dead, with needles in their arms. And you got reasons to live, don't you?
Yeah, I have a little girl.
How old is she?
She's 9 now. She lives with my mom. So I want to be a mom to my daughter.
Your
I
mom's
want to be there for her.
Your mom's kind of a saint, didn't she? I know you guys
Yeah.
have issues,
Yeah.
but she's been through a lot with you.
Yeah. I'm really grateful that my daughter at least has my family.
Yeah, you're really lucky it's not in foster care.
Yeah, she's healthy. She's smart. Something bad could have really happened when I was using with her.
How come it took so long for us to get you in rehab this time? How come I had to chase you for a couple of weeks? Literally chase you.
Because I was scared to withdraw. I haven't withdrawn in a long time. I was scared to go through that process again, and so I just kind of kept going till the wheels fell off.
And the wheels fell off, meaning what?
I was running out of money, and not only that, I just felt like I was pretty close to death.
Okay. So you were afraid of the withdrawals. Talk about that. That's what I want people to hear. Because you guys, and Jack, you can help but what makes it so freaking hard for us to get somebody into treatment is just that. They have such a fear of the withdrawals that sometimes they'd rather be dead than have to deal with that. So instead they stay loaded
Yep.
and play Russian roulette, that game, until they can't do it anymore. How bad is withdrawals coming off this stuff? What's it like?
I was hallucinating the first night.
You almost ended up in a psychiatric ward. We were thinking about taking you because you were very psychotic.
Yeah, probably because of the meth. It was not very helpful, but yeah, I was really paranoid too. But I was kicking around. I think I had to wait a little over 24 hours to get my first dose. And
For people who don't understand that, is we cannot give somebody detox medication if they're on opiates at least for 24 hours because they'll go into immediate withdrawals and it would do more damage than good. So we have to wait. Fentanyl, that's a game changer. That's a different deal. We have to wait 48 hours or longer before we really should be able to give them anything, because it can make their withdrawals even worse, not better.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the hardest thing for somebody using these kind of drugs is knowing that if they come into rehab or if they have to stop, it's a 24-hour to a 72-hour wait before they can get these detox meds. And how bad is withdrawals? How does that feel? Tell us.
I came in 2 days ago.
And you haven't we have not given you meds yet.
No, I haven't taken anything, and I feel like literally
without cussing.
Yeah, literally just getting out of my skin, and like my body aches, like it hurts to comb your hair, brush your teeth, like you can't control your like using the restroom, like it'll just.
So if he gets up, we understand why you have to go to the bathroom if you need to. Okay, but go on.
Yeah, and it's a really scary thing. And like before I've come to rehab, I've tried doing it on my own, like laying in bed for weeks, like for a week, just watching like Netflix, but it'll just take forever, like to it's basically like a monster. Like once you start doing it, like that withdrawal like will make you want to not stop, basically.
Well, what's dope sick like? It's terrible, isn't it?
Oh yeah, your like body just wants to shut down, basically.
You feel like you're dying.
Yeah, it's basically like dying.
How do you explain that to somebody who doesn't understand? How do you explain that? I mean, how? Really? I mean, I try really hard to help people understand how freaking bad this addiction is and how freaking bad the detox is.
Someone told me once, it's like, to explain it to someone who doesn't know, it's like taking someone to their favorite restaurant and then telling them they can't have their favorite food.
Right.
Like,
But it's a lot worse than that, really.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. That's like, okay, I'll eat something else. This one, you can't get away from it. You can't eat something else.
Yes,
I mean,
basically.
you feel like you're going to die.
Yes. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. It is. And this is the second. You just left, dude, like a month ago or less. But you left before you were ready. In fact, I know that my entire staff was trying to convince you not to leave.
Yeah.
And you left early. Why?
Well, I was confident in myself. I was there for 14 days, and I was like, I took in all the information, and I felt like confident with myself. I was like, okay, I'll go to NA meetings. I'll just do it. Just stay on track. And then once I got back, like, I like kind of went back into the same cycle of how I was living, like being in my room. And then, like, not having anything to do.
You used by yourself most of the time, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I was an isolator. Like, I would rather just stay in my room and then, like, watch videos and then get high. And then eventually, it was, like, only about 2 days after that I started doing it again. Because I found a pill in my room. I did it. And then I had to buy more.
Figure just one time and you can get away with it and no one would know and you'd be okay, right?
Yeah. And
How'd that work for you?
Yeah, I like found the one in my room and I was going to throw it in the toilet, and then like I thought about it. I was like, well, I haven't done it for so long. If I do it, I'm not going to have a withdrawal because it's been so long. I took it and the next day I felt like crap. So
Immediate withdrawals.
Yeah, then I had to go and buy some more. So, yeah.
It's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thinking it's got to be pretty sad and alone and lonely and depressing to sit in your room by yourself taking
Yeah,
fentanyl
basically.
pills. It's got to be terrible, man.
Yeah. And I feel bad because, like, my sister's at home, and she probably knows about what's going on.
How old is she?
She's 2 years younger than me.
How old are you, Jack?
22.
Okay.
Yeah. And, like, she looks up to me, so I feel bad, like, doing it. Like, because I know she sees that.
I know your sister's probably going to see this show, right? Sooner or later. If you want to say something to her now, you can.
Yeah. Just, like, take an example from me and, like, don't learn from my mistakes and like avoid that. And yeah, you're doing great.
You care about your
Basically.
sister, don't you?
Yes.
You love her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And that was my reason for coming here, basically. Like, I wanted to, like, increase, like, improve my relationship with my family and also be a better role model for my sister.
Very good. And live.
Yes.
Because if you keep doing what you're doing, Jackie, we're going to go to your funeral.
Yes.
And that's a fact. That's not a maybe. And you know that. I know you do.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's a definite thing.
Yeah. About your mom, how is she taking all this?
She's very supportive. She goes to Narnon meetings.
Good.
Yeah, so she like she's very active with them, and she like goes out and goes to lunches with them, and she's really like researched into like how the addiction is. So like every time like I would try to go through a withdrawal by myself, she'd always like bring me waters, like try her best to help me, and like
She's very supportive of where you're at, right? She knows what you're doing, right? Does she
yeah.
know you're on the radio?
No, because I don't have my phone. They take my phone for 2 days when I get here,
We do. That's right.
which is probably good.
Yeah, probably good. It won't hurt, that's for sure. We want you to be
Yes.
able to focus on your treatment and your recovery. Then you can have your phone a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fine with it.
Want to say something to your mom? You know, we could call her, but I'm going to be nice. I might not.
Yeah. Yeah, just that I really appreciate her support and that.
Talk to her. She's going to listen to this. When she's going to hear this, I might as well just say, Mom.
Yeah, Mom, like, thank you for just being there for me and, like, giving me the, like, like, motivation to help myself and, just, like, always providing an environment of love and, like, yeah, just being there for me.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, you know, I keep remembering, I was going through my phone, and I saw pictures of you and I and your baby. And I'll never forget being in the hospital when your baby was born, and the next day, Children's Services came and took her. You remember that? I see that.
Yeah, it was a really hard day.
It was hard for me to watch you go through that because everyone at the hospital and at Action really, I mean, we cared so much about you. You know that. We loved you a lot. We felt connected to you. And
Yeah.
then we had to watch that happen. What was that like? Because
Um,
they just came and took her.
yeah, we had found out the day before when foster care was gonna take her, and it was just scary, not knowing like where she's gonna go, and just like the pain that I was putting everyone through. And I think it took that situation for me to realize like how my addiction really affects everyone around me. And I thought that like I'm just hurting myself. But yeah, it was a really scary time in my life.
The baby had to be detoxed. You had to be detoxed.
Yeah, she was withdrawing. She was sick. She was in there for a while.
Yeah. And then you got sober though eventually, and you stayed sober for 3 years. How come?
Yeah, because I feel like I started to, you know, get the promises that they talk about in the program and all these gifts of sobriety. You know, I got my family back, I got a good job, I had moved down to Redondo Beach, I got out of here and just started a life somewhere else, and I had a really beautiful life. I was doing a lot of things, you know, that I didn't think I would ever do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do have contact with your child, that's for sure.
Yes.
So, what do you know what? Let's go on break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the rest of the stuff. This is the Action Hour on KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM, your hometown station. Welcome back to your Action Drug Rehab Hour here on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. Your local hometown station. Hey, Lance, I mean, I'm going to be screaming about this fentanyl explosion pandemic.
It is a pandemic. And as far as I'm concerned, it's probably, not to take anything away from COVID, it's probably even a worse pandemic in that your chances for dying prematurely are 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, every time you use, I was listening to Jack speak a few minutes ago, and he talked about how he would go in his room and isolate and use alone. I'm saying, boy, that's a bad combination there. That's a combination for a mom or the little sister to come in the room and find them dead. And if that were to happen, they would never be the same. So it's a serious crisis that has to be addressed.
You know, if you think about it, the statistics say at 100,000 people lost their lives, over 100,000 people. That's just from accidental overdoses in the last year, right? So that's an accidental overdose. That means by accident they took something and died. Now, at least half of those people had no idea they were even taking fentanyl. They thought they were buying Oxy or Percocet or Vicodin or Xanax. But again, 100% of the pills right now on the streets are not real. If you get a pill and you don't get it directly from the pharmacy, it's freaking fake. It's fentanyl in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking your life in your hands every time you do that. So that's 100,000 people minimum dying just for accidents. What about suicide? How many people do you think commit suicide because of alcohol or drug-related problems? I'd say you could at least double that 100,000, don't you think, or more?
It's probably even more.
All right. How about car crashes? How about armed robberies? How about domestic violence? How about child abuse? I could go on and on and on. And how about medical problems? So what do you think the real pandemic is today? And you know what? There's not any vaccine that's going to stop addiction. There's vaccines that'll curb some of the cravings and that kind of stuff, but there's no vaccine that's going to fix you. This is kind of one of those kind of things, and the hardest thing for me to do as an owner of a rehab and an expert, as people say, and as you as a therapist, is when people come into treatment, they don't want to be clean and sober. If they're using fentanyl, they want to stop using fentanyl. If they're shooting heroin, they want to stop shooting heroin. If they're drinking tequila, they want to stop drinking tequila. But why can't I drink beer or smoke weed? I don't even like that. I'm a heroin addict. I can drink. I don't have a problem with alcohol. It's that internal fight that people have within themselves that keep them messing up and losing their lives.
And what they don't understand, Cary, is it's not the substance, it's not the fentanyl, it's not the tequila, it's not the methamphetamine, it's the addiction. So it doesn't matter what your preference is that your preference would be anything that's addictive.
Exactly. And you know what? No one becomes an alcoholic or an addict on purpose. All substance abuse, drug addiction, and alcoholism, it starts innocently, man. You know, when we're young, we have what I call contracts. When I grow up, I will never. And what happens, I'll never smoke cigarettes because it causes cancer. My grandfather died. I don't want to die like that. But, dude, it's only a cigarette. Hanging out with people, it's a learned behavior from home. We get desensitized. We take a hit off a cigarette or vape it is. And how do we clean that up? It's only nicotine. I won't smoke weed, but why not? Weed's natural. God put it there for us. It's used for medicine. It's legal now. We convince ourselves of that. So we smoke a little bit of weed, and it's only weed. I'll never use anything else. And we mean it. But as we break our contracts, we get ourselves in this position. And if we have an addictive personality, we're just flat out screwed. So if you have an addictive personality and you start using anything you're screwed. So the bottom line is, here's a fact, guys. If you could figure out that you can't drink and you can't use anything, I promise you a better life. If you figure out, if you still try to do that internal manipulation to yourself, I can smoke weed because I don't like it. I can drink beer because I'm a heroin addict. You're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest part of what we do for treatment, isn't it?
It is, and folks can rationalize anything, Cary. And so my definition of rationalize is rational and lies. Because
so we rationalize and lie to ourselves.
That's right.
Because they're not lying to anyone else at
Right.
the end of the day. It's to yourself.
Because you can get so good at rationalization that you can convince yourself that you can justify doing anything. Anything.
Yep. Before we came back from break, Jack was saying something about where he got his drugs.
Oh yeah, like the way I was introduced, it was right when COVID started, and I was living at my grandparents', and I first learned about the dark web, and like at that point in my life, I was really interested in just like pharmacology, and it was kind of
Then become a pharmacist, dude.
I know. It was because like my dad, like he was very evangelical, and I've been like always forced to go to church, and so it was like I went through a psychedelic phase, and then I was like, I want to try everything. So then I ordered these blue pills off the dark web, and then
What does that mean? You ordered these blue pills off the dark web. Explain what that is.
It was like I thought they were actually Oxy. They look like Oxy. Like they're
Can't tell them apart.
No, they're same imprint, M30, everything. And I was like, I just want to see what it's like. And I got them in the mail, and I started using them.
Got them in the mail, delivered to your house.
Mm-hmm. And I had no idea
That's disgusting. Lance, what are we doing? Go on.
I had no idea that there was a withdrawal from it. So I started doing them, and I liked them a lot. Like it took my anxiety away, my depression away, which I've been I've dealt with for a while. Like I'm diagnosed with clinical depression and generalized anxiety. So I would take those, and it would really help me. So I kept on ordering them, and finally I stopped, and I felt so sick, and that's when I realized, okay, this is bad. And then I had a friend who had Suboxone, and they gave it to me, and it was the same day I stopped.
Oh.
So you got sicker.
Yeah, I took it, and I literally thought I was gonna die. I got that instant withdrawal.
Immediate detox. Immediate withdrawal pain.
And it felt like all of the water just left my body through my pores. Like I was just delirious out of my mind.
And we have that sometimes when people come into rehab, they don't want to let us know they used that day because they want the Suboxone, and what it does, if they're not truthful, is exactly what you said. Go ahead.
And then after that experience, it was I went through I was like, if it does that much damage to me, I'm not doing that again. So I went through 6 months of staying clean just by myself, and it was during college. I did it during college break, and then I went back to college, and I came back to town for my birthday, and I was like, I'll buy 5 of them just because I want to celebrate. So I bought those 5. I did it on my birthday, and my mom later said she noticed because I was pale and I was sweating, and then I thought I didn't do it for 6 months. I'm not gonna feel anything, and then I went back to college, and I was it was that night I was drinking with my friends, and I just felt this really bad withdrawal all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought some more. I had him meet me at my college, and I was doing it while I was at college. So
you can order them like pizza delivery, can't you?
Oh yeah, there's so many people out there who have it.
You can buy them right on the net, can't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could buy huge quantities, thousands in bulk.
Oh, that's on the dark web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anywhere. It's everywhere, basically.
So this is a question not for you because I don't want to hear it from you, Lance. You're the therapist, right? You're my clinical director.
Yes.
Why would people keep going back to this knowing they're going to get so sick?
Well, the addiction is so strong. I've never seen anything like it. You and I have spoken before, and I've told you, I can go back to 2003. I might be able to remember one person who's been able to stay clean and sober off opioids without some type of medication. Maybe one. That addiction is so strong because it gets down deep into the subconscious mind.
Right.
And once it's in the subconscious mind like that, it's something that can be difficult to overcome because you got to reprogram the conscious mind.
That switch goes off, huh?
That's right.
And people can't think it through. They can't play the tape.
Can't play the tape all the way through because it's just the addictive properties of the opioids are just crazy. Methamphetamine too, but opioids is we have natural opioid receptor sites in our body.
Right.
So our body adjusts to it. He mentioned that he thought that he was all right since he hadn't used in quite a while. And the funny thing about that is that his tolerance had dramatically decreased. So he's probably lucky he didn't overdose and die.
You know that most people, I just want people to hear this, is most people that do overdose has been clean for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And they go out there, they want to get that original high again. And what happens is their mind needs more than their body can handle. Just that little bit more is going to get me that feeling I want. No, that just that little bit more is going to kill you.
That's true.
So just that one time, I know more. I can think of more people that I've known in the years that have died going back out than people that were out. Even though right now, what?
My daughter's dad.
Say that again.
My daughter's dad did that.
What
He was
happened?
Clean for a little bit, and I think he had picked up again. And that same day after he dropped her off, they found him in the bathroom.
Sorry. When we come back from break, I want to hear more about that. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Action Rehab Hours. And before the break, we were speaking with Alejandra, and she was talking about the devastating loss that she experienced. So I will let her pick up with her story again.
So, from baby daddy to statistic, huh? What happened?
Yeah, he had been clean for a little bit, and he was.
Who's he again?
His name was Clinton Souther.
Who is he to you?
My daughter's dad,
Okay.
and basically he was fighting for custody, and they couldn't prove that he was using because he kept showing them clean tests, and he was doing everything he was supposed to, and I was talking to the girlfriend that he was dating at the time, and I know he was clean for a little bit, and then I think he just picked up again and thought he can do maybe what he used to do, and he was supposed to be taking a shower, and I think she had to she couldn't get into the bathroom, and he was already gone.
So he decided to use probably one more time, huh?
Yeah.
And it took his life.
Yeah.
So your daughter's, if anyone asks her about her daddy, she doesn't have a really pretty story to say.
Yeah, she just knows that when she's a little older, we're going to talk to her about it. It's a little much for her right
This
now.
is for you then, specifically right now. I'm talking to you, okay?
Mhm.
Be to your kid what you want your kid to grow up and be. Be to your kid what you want your kid to grow up and be. Be the example and role model for your daughter that she needs her mom to be.
Yeah.
So in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, when somebody says, tell me about your parents, she can have one sad story about dad and a great story about mom.
Yeah, I want her to be proud of me and
And
to know that I fought for her.
And she should be and will be. All you got to do is don't drink or use anything.
Yeah.
That's it, Alex. No alcohol, no drugs. I promise you a better life. Alcohol and drugs, and it's going to be the same thing as dad.
Yeah.
And you're worth so much freaking more than that.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to the person out there that's listening right now and is smoking a little bit of weed and, you know, think it's no big deal?
I remember, I started with weed, and I remember when my mom first drove me to college, she was like, Jack, right now she's a reserve sheriff, so she was like, Jack, right now there's such a big epidemic for opiates. Like, I know you're going to college now, and I'm scared for you. Like, don't ever do that. I'm like, Mom, of course I would never do that. That is like killing yourself. That's poison. And then here I end up, like, a couple of years later doing it, like getting into it. It's so easy. Like, don't fall into that temptation. It's not worth it. It'll take your life away. It'll like hurt your relationships. Like I've ruined a lot of relationships with my family. I've like probably done so much damage to myself from it. So just stay away from it, and yeah.
It turns good dreams into nightmares and destroys everything in its path. But it's not prejudice. It could happen to anyone.
Yes, exactly.
So, I don't know. I had this great thing I wanted to say to finish this up, but I don't really have much great to say except for I'm really proud of both of you right now because you had the guts to come back, and so did you. You know, and don't ever forget how you feel. And don't ever forget how you felt coming back. And don't ever forget what scared you so much, what you ran away for. It took weeks for you to come back, you know. And don't screw this up. And Jack, do it right this time, man. All we want for you is for you guys to be healthy, alive, and happy and successful. That's our payoff. You know, we go to way too many funerals, and we love you guys. We do. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Any 30-second things you want to say there, Lance? I'm sure they'll give you a minute.
I'd just like to say if there's someone out there that is listening to this broadcast, and if you're having a problem, and you're not sure if you have a problem, give us a call, and let's talk and let's get you evaluated.
And just to piggyback on what Lance said, if you even have to question yourself and say, well, do I have a problem? The answer is yes. You would not have to question yourself if you didn't. Mm-hmm. And that's a fact. So we're always there. You can call us 1-800-367-8336. Call me directly, 661-713-3006. And there's a lot of other programs out there. I mean, if